Hello everyone, it's Richardson here, and today in this video we will discuss about how to do computational calculations using Hamiltonians. Okay, let me show you a screen from your Avogadro software, and this is the Avogadro software window where after drawing the molecule, and if you want to attempt to do a MOPAC calculation, you see that you draw the molecule in your Avogadro, and then you go to extensions, and then you click the MOPAC, and then you get a MOPAC input window like this, right? A dialog box appears, and you give your title, and you can find the calculation what you want to perform over here, and you have the preview part where the details about your molecule will be displayed and everything. A very important thing you have to notice is that you need to choose a proper method for performing a particular calculation. Here you can find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 6 methods of calculation to do a specific task which you need to perform with your MOPAC, right? So these methods which are used, the methods are called the Hamiltonians, where the entire information of the molecule can be calculated. See, when I select the PM6, you can find that the PM6 is displayed over here, and you can do the calculation for that. Each Hamiltonian represented here, each method here has to do a specific task. So to perform a very specific task, to get accurate results and good results, you need to select good Hamiltonians. Okay, you cannot choose just like that whatever Hamiltonian you want. You just can't select one and do the calculation, rather you will end with some wrong results. Okay, so because the computer is doing a very good work for you by simplifying your work, so you need to know some details about how to operate the software and how to use the computer for performing your computational calculation to get some accurate results. So one such thing is that you should be aware of choosing the proper method, that is a proper Hamiltonian for doing the calculation. Okay, now so how this Hamiltonian existed? So for that you need to get a short idea about the quantum mechanics. So let's go into that. You know that the quantum mechanics is based on the arrangement of electrons of a molecule and the interaction of those electrons with the electron and nuclei of other molecule. So it is completely based on the electronic and nuclear interactions of electrons with the nuclei, right? So that is the basis for quantum mechanics. And you see, from getting the wave nature, by considering the wave nature of the electron, which was later on proved by certain experiments, we can get lot of information about the molecule. Okay, so the quantum mechanics, how it calculates these data, how the wave properties of the electrons are considered and subjected to calculation, it all starts with your finding solutions, by finding solutions to your Schrödinger wave equation, right? So what is this Schrödinger equation? It is the basis of quantum mechanics, and it gives a complete description of electronic structure of a molecule. See, so it's the basis of your quantum mechanics, and it gives a complete description of the electronic structure of a molecule. See, we are considering the electronic structure of a molecule. Okay, see, from this Schrödinger equation you can solve all the information of a molecule. See how a very simple equation like H psi is equal to E psi, and from this equation, from this wave function details and all the parameters mentioned over this equation, you can get accurate results. You can get many information about the molecule. Here you find the term H, right, which means your Hamiltonian operator. So your Hamiltonian operator starts with your Schrödinger equation. So your psi is your wave function and E is your energy system. The Hamiltonian operator is a very important operator. You can call this operator as the total energy operator, where it is a combination of the kinetic energy and potential energy of your electron as well as your nucleus in a molecule. So the Hamiltonian operator holds a lot of information about the molecule, right? Okay. So while you attempt to solve problems in quantum mechanics, it all deals with the electrons present in the molecule, right? There are one electron systems, there are two electron systems, and you have a lot more, multiple electron systems also. One electron system, two electron system, like that, you can just solve with your pen and paper by doing some considerations and getting all the quantum mechanical concepts into picture, and you can just do it. But going beyond more electron systems, it creates quite difficulty, and even if you have two electrons itself, there are some difficulties where you have the electron-electron repulsions, and many factors are there, right? So what the mathematicians or the chemists did is that they went for doing certain approximations. Okay, some approximations are very useful, that the problem is solved very simply. Okay, so one such approximation is your Born-Oppenheimer approximation. What this Born-Oppenheimer approximation actually do? What this approximation explains us. Okay, let's have it. You have two things in your atom or a molecule, right? One is your electron and the other is your nuclei, right? You know the nuclei is positively charged, electrons are negatively charged. Okay, that's all about the charged properties. When you go with the property of mass, you find that the electrons are much lighter than the nuclei, right? For example, let me consider a carbon nuclei. Yes, a carbon nucleus is more than 20,000 times as massive as an electron. When you compare the carbon nuclei with the electron, the carbon nuclei is 20,000 times greater in mass than your electron. See, so your nucleus is heavy where your electron is a very, very light particle, right? So what happens? Their motions is much faster than vibrational and rotational motions of the nuclei. So when you compare the motion of your electron with the nuclei, the electrons are very fast in all the vibrational and rotational motions when compared to the nuclei within the molecule. Okay, this is one sort of good approximation they have done. Is that what they have done is they just divided the Schrodinger equation into two equations. Okay, divided into two components. One is one describing the motion of the nuclei and the other describing the motion of the electrons around the nuclei whose positions are fixed. Okay, so what happens? They are describing one as the motion of the nuclei, so you call it as a nuclear wave function, and the other they describe the motion of the electron, that is called as the electronic wave function. So we have two kinds of wave function over here. Okay, so as a whole in Born-Oppenheimer approximation, what they did is that since the nucleus is very heavy than the electron, they just considered that the nucleus is moving very slowly when compared to the electron. So the nucleus can be assumed to be fixed. It's very slow when compared to, because electron is moving very fast, nucleus is moving very slow. When comparing with the electron, you just make nucleus as fixed. It is very slow now, so no need to get the details about its motion. Okay, so we assume that the nucleus is fixed over there. Okay, so they assume that the nucleus are fixed and unmoving, and then they compute only the electronic wave function. So the nuclear wave function is omitted and they consider only the electronic wave function. This is all about your Born-Oppenheimer approximation, right? Okay, now let's go with the details about the molecular Hamiltonian. Okay, so now we are getting into the detail. What is the molecular Hamiltonian? Okay, in quantum physics or chemistry and everything, you can see that the molecular Hamiltonian is the Hamiltonian operator representing the energy of electrons and nuclei in the molecule, right? See, the energy of the electrons and nuclei in a molecule. We know that a molecule consists of electron and the nuclei only, right? So all its energy is calculated, and that information is obtained only from the Hamiltonian operator. See, you can have the formula over here. H operator is equal to the operator associated with kinetic energy plus potential energy. As a whole, we can call this as a total energy operator. So this operator is associated with the Schrodinger equation, which plays a central role in computational chemistry and physics for computing your molecular properties. See how important is your Hamiltonian, right? So we should know about the Hamiltonian very clearly. That's why we are discussing here in detail. So we will be discussing all the different types of Hamiltonians available in MOPACT and how they can be implemented to solve certain problems. Okay, here you can see the one electron atoms Hamiltonian, right, where you can see that the nucleus is fixed over here and the electron is alone assumed to be moving, and you see the potential energy, that is the VR. It is calculated, it's written like this, and this is your kinetic energy. See, your kinetic energy and potential energy put together will give you the total Hamiltonian, that is the total energy operator for the molecule. This is in case of one electron system, which is very simple to write. When you go with multiple electron atoms, an atom containing more than one electron, for example, let us consider the helium nucleus, where it contains 2 electrons. Okay, you see the nucleus is assumed to be fixed nucleus at origin, and the electron is assumed to be moving around the nucleus. Okay, one electron can be solved using Schrodinger equation, but when you have more than one electron, like 2 or more electrons, Schrodinger equation cannot be solved exactly. This is a quite challenging question and challenging task for quantum chemist, right? See, this is how you write the helium atom Hamiltonian. See, you have the electron kinetic energy. See, the electron nuclear Coulombic attraction. See how the electron kinetic energy means when the electron is subjected to motion, right? That's why we calculate the electron kinetic energy. Nucleus is fixed, so we don't consider the nuclear kinetic energy. We just neglect it because the nucleus is fixed. We only consider the electron kinetic energy. Then you see the electron and nucleus are interacting, right? So that energy is calculated, that interactions are calculated. We saw earlier, we saw that they take information from the electrostatics. This information is obtained from the electrostatics. Then here you see electron repulsion. The 2 electrons are there. When they both are like charges, say they repel, so there comes the electron repulsion factor. See, all the possible energies and interactions and attractions and everything are obtained in your Hamiltonian. This is why your Hamiltonian relies, or it completely gives the entire molecular property for an atom or a molecule you consider. Okay, let's summarize what we did till now. Okay, to have a short thing, we discussed the Born-Oppenheimer approximation, right, where you saw about the mass difference between the nuclei and electron, right? See, the electron is very lighter particle when compared to the nuclei in mass, so we assume that the nucleus is fixed, so the nucleus is not moving. So what will happen? The kinetic energy for the nucleus is 0 here, and we don't take the kinetic energy for nucleus. See here, the Hamiltonian is written for the multi-electron system. See, you cancel the nuclear kinetic energy because the nucleus is assumed to be fixed. This is in case of more than one electron system. Because one electron is there is no kind of thing, so no need to bother much because the Schrodinger equation is solvable exactly. But when you go with multiple electron system, where you apply a Born-Oppenheimer approximation, so the nucleus is not moving, it's very slow when compared with the electron, so you just make it as fixed and it is cancelled over here. So nuclear kinetic energy is not considered, rather all the electronic factors are considered. This nuclear repulsion is considered as a parameter. Okay, it's just a correction parameter which is used here. See the Schrodinger equation, how they have rewritten. See, they have used only the electronic wave function and they have used only the electronic energy, and it is an electronic Hamiltonian. So completely it has been solved like this for multiple electron systems. So like this you can solve your Schrodinger equation for multiple electron system also.